Hi, it's Gail here live with the Ignite show, and I have my little notes here because quite often I come on here and do a bit of rambling because I don't actually think about what I'm going to say before I come on, and then I start rambling. I go off on a tangent and I forget what I was going to say, and then I finish the live or I finish the Ignite show, and I kind of think, oh, actually, I was supposed to say this, that, and the other, and I didn't manage to say it. So I've given myself some little notes to refer to today. And I've just had a message from someone. Okay. Thought that I saw a message about somebody that I'm supposed to be having a call with tomorrow, and I thought they were going to say there was something serious happening, but I'm not saying it's not serious, but I just had a little panic there, but it seems to be okay. So that was me distracted already and haven't even started. But yeah, so I thought today I would try and stick to the plan. I shouldn't look at my screen when I'm doing this. Stick to the plan, stick to the agenda, follow my notes, and stay on track. So if you are here watching me live, I see somebody has just joined me live. So if you are on watching me live, pop me a little comment. You might need to do the little StreamYard thingy. I don't know if I've included it with this post. I might have forgotten to do that. But if you are here with me live watching, then do just pop a little comment in so I know who you are, where you are, and what you're up to. Tell me how your day has been, what you've been doing, what's been happening. It was actually quite nice here today for a while, but it's now gone a bit drab and dreary and a bit windy, and yeah, I've got washing out, so I'm going to go and bring all that in shortly. So today I'm talking about your time is precious, okay? And sometimes when we are leaders who really want to help and support and develop our people, we can forget that our time is precious and that we need to protect our time, put boundaries around the time that we have available, and focus on that and actually be really clear and strong on that. Because if we don't, we can get into all sorts of bother, and before we know our day has run away with us. We haven't managed to achieve things that we wanted to achieve, and things just can become a bit of a disaster. And the example that I'm going to give you is, so when I was the head of customer care across EMEA for Adobe, I actually had my own office, which I quite liked having my own office because I could shut the door if I wanted to. But I know that's not really the way of things now, because most offices now are heading towards open plan and being really fully transparent, and I think there's lots of benefits to that as well. But when I was in that role, I had an office, and one of the things that really, really frustrates me and that really annoys me is interruptions. Okay, so I can't stand being interrupted. And when I say interruptions, what I mean is I don't mind somebody interrupting me in a conversation. I mean, that can be a little bit annoying. It's more when I am in my zone of genius and I'm working on something and I'm in flow and I'm concentrating, I'm powering through something, or I'm really focused on something, or I know I need to get something done within a certain amount of time, have a deadline that I'm working to, and I've kind of mapped out what I need to do, when I need to do it, and by when, to get things done according to a specific time frame. The thing that really, really annoys me if somebody comes along and plonks themselves down in front of me and starts chatting. I'm like, got something going on here. So this used to happen to me a lot. So when I was leading, when I was leading my team, people would just come along to my office and just check in, say, have you got a minute? That was the favorite, right? That's just kind of popped into my head. Have you got a minute? I've got a minute. Don't have 30 minutes or an hour. I've got a minute. But that's what used to happen. So they used to, come in, have you got a minute? And then they would sit down, and before I knew it, that sacred hour that I had carved out to work on a specific thing that I needed to get done had just vanished, evaporated, poof, just gone. And then I was left with the problem, so I would have helped the person with whatever they needed help with, but then ended up with a problem myself because, they're sorted, they're good, they're off, they've had my counsel, had my input, we've discussed whatever they needed to discuss, but then I'm still left with my thing that I'm still trying to do. And then that's me late leaving the office, late for dinner, car crash at home, big problem, all of that. And you're like, what, like, really? So that happened to me though, because I wasn't focused on my time being precious and really thinking about, my time is precious, and giving myself permission to make my time precious and to carve out time for me and to put boundaries around the time that I needed, because it's important. But no one will make it important, or no one will see your time as precious if you don't. And I was really guilty of that, really guilty of that. So here are a couple of things that you can do that will help with this. So to help get past this whole thing of, have you got a minute? And it turns into 30, 45 or 60 minutes. The thing that, and you will hear me talk about this a lot actually. So if you follow me, if you watch my lives, if you watch my show, you will hear me talk about, I actually was talking about this last night in a coaching call. I had a group coaching call last night for my challenge winners, the people that were the most engaged people in my challenge last week. So the 10 most engaged people in my challenge were invited to an intimate little session with me on Zoom. And this is one of the things that we're talking about, not specifically related to making your time precious, but it's the same principle that I'm going to share with you. So the principle I'm going to share with you, or the tip I'm going to share with you, is called designing your alliance. And this matters because it's much easier to agree something before you've got into the particular situation than it is when you're in it. So when someone's in that moment of need and they're really needing your help, it's really difficult at that point to say, well, could you schedule some time with me? Or is it urgent? Could we move it to your one-to-one? Although I think that is part of the strategy as well. But the first thing to do before you even get to that point is, whoever you're working with, whoever, especially with your team, you need to figure out what works for you. And you might be different from me. Okay, so this was a big thing for me. This might not be a thing for you, but the tip that I'm giving you could be applied in lots of different situations. But for me, it was really important that if I'm up against a deadline, I need you to leave me alone so I can get on with my deadline. And that's important to me. I need that. So what we can do is, when we start leading other people, when we have a team that we're leading, we can design in with all of our team members, this is how things need to work. I'm not good with interruptions. If you need to speak to me, my preference would be that you keep whatever it is you need to speak to me about for our one-to-ones, which are going to be scheduled in advance and we know where they are. And I will treat them as sacred. So, I will carve out that time, and I will always, always make sure that we have our one-to-ones because they're important. But by doing that, and by carving out that time, and by making that time precious, I want to make sure that we try and minimize as much as possible what I call flyby meetings, right? So the flyby meeting is when, someone pops along, sticks their head in, or if you're in an open plan environment, pops up at your desk, have you got a minute? These have you got a minute moments, they kill our day. So I want to design in up front. I'm not good with those in the moment, have you got a minute discussions that then turn into an hour. That we need to avoid that. If something's really urgent and we can deal with it, if something's really urgent, well, then we need to tackle it, and that's fine. But can we keep the urgent things to a minimum? And if something's on your mind and you want to discuss it, I'm going to say, is this urgent or can it wait to your one-to-one? And if it can't wait, that's fine, interrupt me. But if it can wait, then hang on to it and bring it to your one-to-one, because I will treat that time as sacred. And that's something that, when I'm working with people, I will design that in. So design that in up front with them to say, can we agree that we're going to minimize flyby meetings? We're going to try and not have too many interruptions going on, because that's something that, is important to me. And Okay. All my clients are pinging me right now because we've got a coaching call tonight that's happening at 7 o'clock. And so they're all telling me whether or not they're making it, whether or not they're coming along. Sounds like some people have got stuff on that they're going to be doing tonight. So that's fine. So yeah, so design up front, design in with your people, this is what works for me, what works for you. Can we agree together how we're going to make this work together so that neither of us end up in a situation where we're frustrated? Because that's just what used to happen to me. Somebody would come along and say, have you got a minute? And then before I knew it, a whole hour had gone by, and then I'd be like, you're kidding me. Like, this was the only hour I had. I didn't have any other hour anywhere else in my day. This was it. And I've now just spent it talking to you. Now, that might sound really, really selfish. And I am aware of that. I'm aware that that's coming across as sounding really, really selfish because, you want to be there for your direct reports. You want to support them. You want to encourage them. And that's true. But you also have to teach them that they've got to stand on their own 2 feet as well. And that they can't always come running to you at the slightest sign of trouble. So that's the first thing. Design it in. Talk about, how you're going to manage your time, how things are going to work, how do you like to manage things, how are we going to deal with interruptions, what's going to happen if something urgent comes up, how should we deal with that, how should we tackle that, how are we going to be managing our time together so that we can protect that for each other. I just noticed it started raining and I've got washing outside. So that's the first thing. Then the next thing is you design your alliance, and if you haven't designed your alliance, there's no better time to design your alliance than right now. Okay, so if you haven't done it, do it now. The best time was when you first started working together. The next best time is right now. So there's always an opportunity to design your alliance. But then the next bit is you've got to keep designing it. You've got to keep designing your alliance, because as things come up, and you're like, we need to talk about that because that doesn't work for me. So just because you've designed your alliance once doesn't mean that you have designed it forever. You can continue to design and continue to course correct how you are going to work together, particularly as it relates to your time. And your time is precious, and you have to have the mindset that I'm giving myself permission to see and believe that my time is precious and that it deserves to be protected. Okay, so keep designing and agree. So agree up front. How are we going to deal with things if there are urgent things? If I do need help in the moment, what are we going to do? And the thing was, the more available you are, and the more accessible you are, the more people are going to come and lean on you. When I was leading my team, when I worked for Adobe, my manager was in a completely different time zone. So I just had to get on with it. I had to make decisions, and sometimes the more you pull yourself back from your direct reports, the more that they will stand on their own 2 feet and figure things out for themselves. And even if that means they make a mistake, sometimes that's okay, because that's how they learn, that's how they grow, that's how they develop. If they're always leaning on you and you're always giving them the answer and you're always giving them counsel and they always have to come and check with you, you're just creating a rod for your own back. So you need to empower your people to be able to make decisions. So you've got to give them the right context. You've got to have clarity. Context. There's 3 C's that David Marquet does, and I've meant to look them up. I can't remember what they are now. Competence and clarity are definitely 2, but there's another one. Control, competence, and clarity. So you have to create clarity so that people know what they're doing. You have to give them control so they can get on and do it. But then you've also got to support them and make sure that you are developing them and that they are increasing their level of competency so that in any situation they know what to do and they've got the skills to deal with it. So clarity, competence, and control, 3 C's. That comes from David Marquet from his book Turn the Ship Around. Really good read. I recommend it. So that's it. That's my tip for today. Make your time is precious. You just have to believe that it's precious and see it as precious yourself, and don't see yourself as second best. You need to create your boundaries and stick to them. And if you want more little nuggets like that, then I highly recommend you check out my little Find Your Balance mini program, which is hot off the press, not long created. I just finalized that in the past couple of weeks. It is available now, and the information for that, the link to go and check that out, is in this post. So go and check it out. It's a little mini program, packed. I've created a journal and everything. It's packed. It's got a journal. It's got a masterclass. But more importantly, it's got a 30 days. It's Find Your Balance in 30 days. It's got a 30-day program where you can get prompted every day by me. You're going to get a little email from me telling you, this is the thing you're going to focus on today. This is the thing you're going to focus on today. This is the thing you're going to focus on today. And it's going to lead you through over 30 days all the different tips and suggestions and recommendations that I have to help you find your balance. So if you are stressed and overwhelmed, if you're really struggling with work-life balance, I highly recommend it. It is only £27, and you get to ask me questions all the way through. So you get support from me all the way through. You submit them via my vault and I respond by email. And you also get a mini turbo session with me. So you get a little one-to-one with me. We do a 15-minute super focused, laser sharp session where we get really into whatever it is that's holding you back. And you will be amazed how much ground we can cover in 15 minutes. And that is included in that as well, all for £27. It's a bargain, absolute bargain. So go and check that out. And the other thing I want to share with you is I now have a text alert service in place. So I used to do this a while back, and there was a whole problem with my messenger service and things like that, and just challenges with Facebook, which have all now sort of been resolved. So we know what we're doing now. But now, so if you want to get a notification from me when I'm about to go live with the Ignite Show, you can sign up for that. That is in the comments on this post as well. And so when you sign up for that, it means I drop you a little text message. So you get a little you get a little, you get a little text message from me when I am about to go live with the Ignite Show. So you can sign up for that, and that's what happens. I just send a little text out before I go live, just to give you a little reminder so that you can pop on with me and say hello. So that is it. And still got some people watching me, but nobody put a comment in, so I don't know who's been watching me, unless I've missed some comments that didn't come through. No, definitely didn't see any comments from anybody. So people are maybe watching me in the background doing something else, maybe making their tea or something like that, which is absolutely fine. But if you are watching this on replay, then let me know that you've tuned in. Give me a little comment, or maybe you're watching this in the vault, because all of the Ignite Show episodes get loaded up into the vault. And if you're on my mailing list, you get that sent out to you as well, with a little link to go and watch it on replay as well. So have a great night. That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. If you did tune in, hope it was helpful, and I will speak to you the next time. Bye.